and I said to her, you know what, we have two options. It's either one is going to die here because of stress and anxiety,
Sure.
or another option is for us to leave.
I'm losing all of this. Take your cast. I don't even want half of your money. We're married in community. I left it.
You are something I want, but this last thing is so nice.
Yes.
Especially when you are
The
used
bad
to
thing
it.
about lust is that it's
That's
nice.
so good.
But you are embracing something that is destroying you.
Good day, family. We're excited to be here. It's another episode, another dose, really, of love, marriage, and family. We are excited to be having this one, and we really hope you will enjoy this episode that we have curated for you today. But before we get to our guest and before my lovely co-host, greets you, thank you so much for subscriptions. Thank you for your love. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for interaction on our platforms. We truly, truly appreciate you. And continue subscribing because we really want to grow this platform. It's for anything love, anything family, anything marriage. And we want to ensure that this platform grows, and it can only grow because of you.
And obviously, one of the reasons to subscribe to this channel is so that you are among the first people to know when we have uploaded, another episode. Also, as we always say, just to increase the algorithms. I need to get used to that word.
Get that right, baby.
Yes, the algorithms, so that the more people subscribe to a channel, if you don't know, the more algorithms it gets. And that means that for anyone who's scrolling through, minding their own business, and will pop up in front of them, as well. So, and that happens because you've subscribed to the channel, as well. Thank you so much for all your subscriptions and your comments. And of course, my name is Mo.
Of course. Thank you so much. And without wasting any time, I would love to introduce our guests. I think the first time I came through these wonderful people was on TikTok.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I kept going. I'm like, Haibo, what's happening here? What's happening? And I think it was the Coffee Bean at the time. And you start going like, oh, okay, this is interesting. Oh, this is interesting. But we have our wonderful guests today. They are known on TikTok as the House of Daniels.
The House of Daniels.
On TikTok.
Oh, that's such a nice name.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really such a nice
So
name.
it's the House of Daniels, and we are excited, Sis Belinda, to have you. And of course, Mr. D himself.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being here. And thank you for honoring our invite.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to have.
Awesome. Can we take it a little bit back? Because I'm taken to the 20th of November, sometime in 2020.
That's a beautiful day.
That's a beautiful. The sun is out.
It's a sunny day, man.
Yeah.
And especially in Sentin area.
I mean, and I'm thinking, why lockdown?
Yeah.
Since I'm not in the lockdown, like seriously, I mean, I'm in lockdown on November 20. When I see Belinda,
No, I was at home. I was at home.
Okay.
So ask the other person
Please
what
tell
they
me.
were doing during.
But
Yeah.
before I go and delve in deeper, I want to say thank you guys for
Awesome.
having us. It's always an honor to sit with like-minded people,
Yeah.
who have a passion for families. I always say that any society is built by healthy families.
Yeah.
Certainly.
And so you are strengthening the fiber of families and communities. So never take it for granted.
Thank you.
Now let's go back.
Let's go back in time.
So 28th of November, I'm at the World of Golf. I'm practicing. And I thought to myself, let me call a friend of mine who had told me that he's opened something Ganyana in Sentin. And then I called him and he said, I must come over. So I went to see him. Little did I knew that I was going to meet my wife there because they were selling some stuff for Uber. You were selling food to eat. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
Uber Eats. Yeah. So I wanted to support him. And that's where I met this lady. I remember I was sitting in his bedroom. And this beautiful lady came in. And she
In the bedroom?
No, in the bedroom of this friend of mine.
Yeah.
It's a, well, I don't know what you call it.
I'm thinking first meeting already.
Hey, let me and you know, so this guy, he went to fetch something in his bedroom.
Okay.
So she came in because they were partners and business partners. And so she came in and greeted. And yeah, the rest is history. Right?
Yeah.
I think women tell stories
Detail.
better.
I think so too.
Because
Even as a man, I can say that.
I'm just like, what? So if bendingeko, this is what you tell people.
I was in the bedroom.
Yes.
Please take us through because, first of all, you guys come from very different. You are from Cape Town. He's from the Eastern Cape.
Yes.
Honestly, it means the meeting was meant to happen.
Yeah.
Hlambe, give us a better version.
Okay. With where we come from, or do I rectify the mistake?
Please rectify.
Let me rectify and then go back.
Yeah.
Please, it's very important. I was minding my business on the 28th of November, 2020. Was it 2020?
Yes.
2020.
I was in Johannesburg. It was my third month in Johannesburg. I moved from Cape Town due to lockdown. I was working in Cape Town. And so I thought, because my kids were closer this side, they were living with my mom, let me just go and be in Joburg.
Yeah.
So I moved up. A friend of his, I didn't know at the time, a friend of mine who introduced him, has a skill, so peg.
Okay.
And I said, look, let's start a restaurant because we don't know when this thing is going to end. And so I registered him on Uber Eats and I said, I'm going to fund the business, you just cook. Okay. And so he called him and said, I have this thing that I'm running. I would love your support. So that's when he came to see him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now it makes sense.
Now everything is moving up. Into the bedroom again. Okay. I Mr. Village why jump the bedroom
Straight to the point.
So where I was staying, I managed student accommodation.
Okay.
I gave him a room because he couldn't travel to Bryanston. From Bryanston to Sandton every day. So I offered him a room, almost like a bachelor apartment. This is what he calls a bedroom.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I see. This is how it happens.
This is the bedroom. Okay, so everything is here. The kitchen is here. The bed is here. Everything. The couch. And so it's a bachelor
flat.
Flat, yes.
So you being from Cape Town, you came to Joburg because your kids were this side and you wanted to be closer to them. But Buti, you were born at Mvaba. I'm so happy to see umuntu at Mvaba. I know Mvaba, but so good to see someone from there. So you were born at Mvaba, but grew up in Port Elizabeth, in New Brighton, to be precise.
New Brighton.
Yes. How then, when do you end up in Joburg?
So in Joburg, I moved here with my family, my ex-wife and kids.
Okay.
In 2017.
Oh, okay.
And when we moved here, we had also lost everything in the Eastern Cape. So we're starting over.
Coming to start over.
In Johannesburg. And things just went bad to worse, And so it was an interesting one because I had no other opportunities. And I think because of the kind of business that I do, the environment was not conducive for what I was doing. Well, I'm a management consultant. I run a management consulting firm. And so if I wanted better deals, then Joburg was a conducive space, And so 2017 we moved and things just went haywire from there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why is it lack of business coming through?
There were family dynamics.
Okay.
There were family dynamics and it was a tricky one. It was a tough moment. It was a tough season for us.
Yeah.
And I think I came to a point where I sat down with her and I said, you know what? Hey, we are frustrating each other.
Yes,
You
this
know,
is with your first wife.
with my first wife. And I said to her, you know what, we have two options. It's either one is going to die here because of stress and anxiety,
Sure.
or another option is for us to live, you know, and then lead our healthy ways, because this is not healthy for us. And also that's when we made a decision to say, you know what, it's not working. We've given it a try for about 13 to 14 years,
Sure.
you know, and we did our best.
It's not an easy decision.
Yeah. No, that was the
After
most
that, a long
difficult. You
period.
know, in life, there's what you call defining moments.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's one of those for me, the defining moments.
Sure.
Because the kids were young and there was just so many things happening.
Yeah.
And how many kids did you have at that time?
Three kids.
And the decision was amicable.
The decision was amicable, and she went ahead then to lodge for the divorce.
Okay.
You know, and then that's how we went separate ways.
Sure. Imagine moving to a new city,
Yeah.
and then you come as a family, but
Yeah.
you end up
Yeah.
divorcing in the new city,
Yeah.
where you're starting to start a new life.
Yeah.
You're coming rather to start a new life. That's quite
No, that was
something. Yeah?
hectic, especially if you, because we hold biblical principles.
Yeah.
You know, we believe in the God who says he doesn't like divorce.
Yes.
And so when you are confronted with such a brutal moment, we had to make that decision.
Wow.
And then later on, I realized that God hates divorce, but he doesn't hate the people who are divorcing.
Yes, yes. He still
He's
loves
still
us
God,
all, you know.
Yeah. But it was a learning. But I mean, if you were to ask me, what was one of my major learnings as far as that is concerned, I realized that in order for a marriage to be successful, you must love your spouse the way they want to be loved, not the way you assume
Yes.
they want to be loved. That was one learning for me. To say, don't assume love. Contract with your partner. You know, what is love in your world? Take me through your world so that I can understand where you come from.
Sure.
And vice versa. You know, so that's where I come from.
That's really powerful.
And this is now obviously when did you come around about the same time to Joburg?
Yes.
And so your journey, how different or similar is it to him? I want to get to the point, Yalia bedroom.
So how was it for you moving from Cape Town to Joburg, and what was happening for you at that time?
I moved up to Joburg in 2003.
Oh, okay. So much earlier.
Okay.
Much earlier.
Yeah,
I was very young.
Yes.
And I did not have time to play.
Okay.
You know, this is now to be exposed in Johannesburg living. Because immediately a year later, when I moved up here, I met someone.
Yeah.
And we got married within 3 months.
Oh, wow.
Being a child from Elokshini, you know, I was straight from the township.
Yeah.
And I was working, I remember at the time I was working for the Department of Trade and Industry.
Yeah.
And I met him on the side of the road. And it was just weird how we met, because his friend, the friend he was with in the car, stopped to speak to a friend of mine. So now I was just waiting for my friend. We are Shelwa, I'm just waiting. And this guy comes out and says, you know what? We might as well. So I was in a might as well get married.
Yeah.
Okay, that's funny.
So we got married. He was a bit more made than I was. I was still young.
Yeah.
The man was over 10 years older than me.
Okay.
And I don't think I did love him, but it was almost like, you know, when you feel sorry for people. Have you ever been in a situation where you say yes because you just feel sorry for them, but not necessarily because this is what you want? And I was like, this guy is so, like, he's so genuine. He loves me genuinely. I don't, but I'm sure I can because he's so cute, you know? So we ended up getting married. My family loved him, moved in together.
Sure.
I went and lived in a mansion. I was young. I was from a flat somewhere in Pretoria, and I went to live with him in Dainfen, and everything, I was treated like a princess or a queen. And I think being a girl from the township, I had a lot of getting used to everything, the lifestyle, the walk, the talk, the Johannesburg, and how People
Yeah.
do things.
Yeah.
Thank God I'm not a liker of things. I've never been a
Yeah.
liker of things. So when you're not a liker of things, you don't attach yourself too much, especially on material things. It's easy to let go.
Yeah.
So the abuse started because he was a chief nuclear physicist for ESCOM, and the abuse came. I mean, I was earning 8,000 rands a
Yeah.
month, and I was happy with that. I could afford my rent and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now he didn't even spend 8,000 rands on groceries. That was like nothing. So he said, "I'll pay you for staying at home. I'll pay you double." Oh, and so I was thinking, oh, okay,
Hey, that's a
where I
bonus.
come from, where I come from.
16,000.
It's where a Lokshini is 16,000.
That's a
It's
lot.
from a rich family as a Lokshini, you know,
true.
because this is a professional, maybe a
Yeah.
teacher or a nurse. So I stayed at home. I didn't know what to do with all this money. I was spoiled. I used to just drive around with friends,
Yeah.
and one day I think he remembered that you are just a nobody. I got you from the ground, and that's how you treated me.
Yeah.
You know, so it would be an argument about blue cheese that I gave to a nanny, and he would ask, "What happened to the blue cheese?" And I'd say, "I gave it to Usisi. She was going home."
Yes.
I wouldn't expect you to know any better because you don't know the price of cheese. So it started there, and then before you know it, it gets bigger, and then it's physical abuse. Before you know it, it's name calling. Before you know it, it's the cheating.
Sure.
Cheating to a point where you don't know where your husband is
Yeah.
for 5 days. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, you see him on Monday, and you can't even ask him where he comes from.
Wow.
He just walks in, and because
He's
of
there.
the position you are in, so it's a giver and taker type of marriage where you have to know your place, and your place is that you don't pay any bill. You're broke. You're
Yeah.
poor. You
I
come
pay
from a
you.
poor family, so I should be your God. Whatever I do, don't question me. And it was that time I decided, Ubana, I went home, and because they were spoiled. They were used to getting the money, the groceries, the everything. And for them, it was the best for my child. I mean, we all want the best for our children.
Yeah.
So if my child divorces this man, uzawufumana bani?
Ozokwenza kanje.
Uzawukwenza ntoni? Uzawufumana umuntu osebenza phi egarage,
Yeah.
you know? And so it was, no, Sisit, you know, it's such a, and I was still very young even then. This was my 8th year in the marriage. So I was about 29, 30,
yeah.
you know, and uzawuthini ubuya emtshatweni and this and this and that.
Kangaka.
And I made a decision one day to say, I'm losing all of this. Take your cast. I don't even want half of your money. We're married in community. I left it. I was ready to go and start, because remember where I started.
Yeah.
He took me on 20%, but by the time I was done with him, I had to start on 0 again,
Yeah.
because I had a job when I met him, but now I had to start from scratch.
Because, I mean, you were no longer working.
Yeah. So this now for me said, I'm willing. And I remember talking to God about it, saying, make me and break me again, you know, until I get it right. And someone asked me, why are you leaving all of this? And I said, one of us is going to die. And I don't know. I don't know Bangbani. One of us is going to definitely end up in prison, and one of us is going to die. And I'm not ready for all of those.
How many kids do you guys have at that
We
time?
have 3 kids.
Sure. The similarity in your stories is just amazing.
Yeah.
Because he had 3 kids, you had 3 kids, and it was a case of one is going to die, so let's decide who is it going to be.
At what point, though, because a lot of women would stick around in abusive relationships, and pretty much like the Chiefs fans who would... But anyway, let's not be that.
Moving right along.
I agree. I'm here.
Leave us alone.
I'm here.
Ulapha.
We're okay.
Okay, sit together. Mama, I always tell you, can we not bring this here? Because
All right.
I'm not moving for me, pirates. You know that.
So, you know, at what point do you then say, okay, enough is enough? You know, one of us is going to die. Because surely, you know, when it starts, either you see it and dismiss it, or
ignore, yeah.
Yes, and ignore. You know what I mean? Either you see it, dismiss it, ignore it, you know, or you don't see it when it happens, because it's like
Yes.
start by lukewarm and build up before they boil. So at what point do you as a woman say, okay, you know what, I left my job, I came in this relationship because out of sympathy, it was sympathy love. And, but hey, this guy is here, he's providing everything, blue cheese. And, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and he's paying me double than what I was, and I don't have to work as in wake up in the morning and go and, at what point do you say, forget all this, I'm out of here, my life is more important, God will see.
The battle of the heart and the mind,
Oof.
those two.
That never ends.
Yeah, it never ends. So for a long time, I would pack up, go and sleep at a friend's house, go back again, and I would do like in Xhosa we call it-
Anyway, I need to be a dog for some days.
some days ukhona, and he didn't care. So I would in Xhosa kuthiwa ngudamtiriri.
Oh, yes.
I did a lot of udamtiriri.
Nkosi
You miss them. You miss the pain. Yeah, you miss the pain. You tell yourself, I'm done. I'm not taking this anymore. Then you go to a friend's house on the third day. Man, let me just go back.
ubone ngathi ku-quiet la.
Yes, I call drama lana. Ngithanda drama.
Belinda, ufuna ukubuyela
Ukhumbula
back.
pain. Yeah, ukhumbula le pain. It happens.
Yeah.
So I remember going to Barbara, and Barbara said, wait on your heart.
Who's Barbara?
Barbara, it was my psychologist.
Okay.
Yeah.
Barbara Hume. She's in Parkmore.
Okay.
She said to me, I see that you've been using your heart, your mind a lot.
Yes.
Let's wait on your heart now. Your heart will tell you when to leave. So I stayed waiting on my heart. Even on days when my mind said, look at this, go, I would say, I'm waiting on my heart. And in that waiting, and it starts at, and then it doesn't bother you anymore. Whether they stay a month or 2 years, now you just look at them. You move along.
Yeah.
In fact, you ask them, are you not leaving this weekend? Because I was thinking.
You are so used.
You are so used
to the whole
it.
thing, yeah.
And by the time, I think because he noticed the change, he was trying to bring himself back now. Now it was, let's go shopping together. Do you want to hold my hand? Let's do this together. And I think my heart was on 90%. And I'd say, why don't you just go alone?
Yeah.
Why don't you do it alone? I'm sorry, I have plans now. I have plans today. Some days I didn't even have plans, but I didn't want to be seen with him. Yeah. So he became this reminder of my wounds that he had created.
Yeah.
And one day he went to fetch something from his friend. I was sitting at home, and the heart said, Psst, I'm ready. And I said, no, but we're fine now. And the heart said, I'm ready now. We are leaving today.
But
and I got up. Next every day. I packed all my things and I called him. I said, how far are you? He said, I'm about to leave. He was in Alex. And I said, why phone? I need to drop off your keys. I need to give you your house keys. And he said, house keys? I have my keys with me. And I said, no, I mean the ones. Why? What's happening? I'm moving out today. And that's how I left. So you wait. People don't like you say it with God. People don't wait on God. No. I always ask them, how are you waiting in your waiting season? How are you waiting in your waiting season? Sure. Because you could be waiting, but you're looking for the next opportunity. That's not waiting.
Yes.
Yes. So I
you are
waited.
preoccupied.
Yes.
You are busy. Actually.
Yes. So when she said wait on your heart, it meant that take everything in. The mind will get tired. It will keep reminding you, and it will say, let's get angry, let's break this. I did a lot of breaking and I'm angry, I'm trying to be suicidal, I'm doing all these things. And the heart said, when I'm ready, there won't be any anger left in you. And when I left with the purest of hearts. I remember just before he passed away, I remember sitting with him in a restaurant after him say a court, and he said, I want us to start all over. I regret everything. I took you for granted. And I looked at him with the love of God. Do you know that? Do you know that love, the same love you look at a flower?
Yeah.
And you just, these are so beautiful. I looked at him that way. And I said, I love you like my sibling now.
We can't go back.
I can't be your wife. You deserve someone else. And that person is not me.
Wow.
And he knew, my kids would say, he knew it was Chai.
Yes.
Yeah. He knew it was Chai.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And then ifike ke 28 cabanga wena usayiphumela lapha ya Nkosi yami
Yeah.
kandawo and
But how long
You know?
how long was this
how much time in between?
before you guys met?
Before I met my husband.
Yeah.
After my divorce.
Yes.
7 years later.
Wow.
Okay. That
So at least
that
when I was
good.
the heel is shaking.
Yeah.
I was
Ah,
not,
alright. It was
yeah,
running
not
Uber
triggered.
Eats.
Yeah, this polele.
No, wakuthola at the right time.
Yeah.
That was very important.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't the same for him.
Yeah, no, it wasn't the same.
Yeah, nah.
No, I'm not
Washesh. Yeah.
No, man, we're different. You know,
Yeah.
once the court is,
I
you know,
ended 7 years.
we're gone.
7 years, see, unyaka was 7 eshadile. 7 years work. He's married 7 years. They don't waste time. But it's true. But I kind of feel like your meeting was kind of orchestrated somehow, by God. Because one of the things we always say is relationships don't just happen.
Yeah.
Even terrible ones. The one that you had, which was a terrible one, there was a reason for it. Because you would not be the person that you are. You would not have traveled the journey that you have traveled and meet up with him in the way that it did.
Yeah.
Because remember, you would have been occupied.
Exactly.
With blue cheese.
Yeah.
Busy blue cheese. You know what I mean?
More likes the butcher.
I just didn't know the price.
Exactly. Umyeni wami uyayazi iprice lezi zinto ukuthi ziyabiza. So you what got your attention, Mr. D? You meet this lady.
Yeah.
Yini later ngiyahlala la.
Sure, that's a beautiful question, Pin. So I'm going through my own stuff during that time at home. And really for me to make that decision to leave my family and to leave my marriage was an infidelity situation, that disappointed me.
Oh, wow.
That broke me.
Oh,
And then from there, I remember, I'm not sure if these things actually happened, but I know that I'd seen things. And then when I made a decision to say, you know what, I'm leaving this thing. In fact, I'm from New Brighton.
Yeah.
I took my Christianity on the side. That I'm from New Brighton. Let me show. And I said, let me show you how these things are done. You've just seen the only Mzalwane version of me. You have never, because I've been so faithful to you.
Yeah.
Let me show you the real Luthando. And then I went on a cheating spree out of anger.
Yeah.
Because I was trying to prove a point and I didn't care anymore.
Ngingayenza nami lento.
But again, what I learned when I met my wife then, I realized that I could not close those doors. And I learned a lesson there that says, never do anything out of anger or never open a door out of anger. You might not be able to close it again.
That's true.
Ooh,
That's true.
that's powerful.
And so I met her and I was sabotaging the very same thing that I'd always wanted. So I'm going to come to your question.
Oh, wow.
So I met her.
Oh, wow.
And I observed how she was just taking care of everyone here. She's kukukazi AC. She's warm man. Belinda is about. She's the epicenter of everything that's happening here. She's the economics. To this and that. Can you this? But I saw how genuinely and authentic she was. When I met her, she was not as beautiful as she is.
That's also
With the makeups.
Oh, is it thanks to
It
you?
was in the morning around 10
Oh,
a.m.
you mean
Yeah.
that,
Before
yeah.
even she took a shower. Whatever.
Ngekahlambi.
She was wearing dirty Jack Parcels. She was so scruffy.
I'm from Cape Town. That's not dirty.
That's
Cool.
we never
I was
went
looking
that
cool. I was cool.
way.
Yeah.
And then I just observed how she loved and was present in everyone who wanted her attention. And I remember they were busy organizing money for Bri. And I said, can I please contribute? I would love to, you know. And she said, no, it's fine. I said, please give me your number so that I can send you the money then, you know.
Clever.
She gave me the money, and she gave me the number, and then I sent her the funds. Hey, guys, you think I'm lying. When I left that day and I arrived home to my family, I missed home. Yeah.
Please repeat that.
When I met her, it was as if I had arrived at home.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when I left that evening, I remember it was I arrived home around 11 or so. When I arrived at my house, man, I just missed home.
Yeah.
And I knew that that's where I belong.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now I was ready
Yeah.
to say, you know what, I'm clear about what I want.
Yeah.
Yeah. It didn't take me 2 days. It took me that day, and I knew exactly what I wanted. And the interesting part was that I had noticed 2 rabbits that were in a cage outside, you know, in this apartment. And I have a rabbit at home, you know. And we started a rabbit conversation.
She's
a rabbit
blushing.
conversation, and I remember signing my book, a copy of my book for her that day, you know, to say, please, I'm also an author, so if you want to read, please. And I didn't know that she would sleep with that book every night from then.
Oh, wow.
Because I had made an impression. And so, yeah, man, she was just home, Pindi. How do I explain this? Yeah.
Yeah.
That feeling, I have never, ever felt that feeling prior. No. When I met her, I knew that this is home. I've arrived at home.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know, because of the credibility I had built over time, the stature in the community and all that, I didn't care what people are going to say.
Yeah.
I used to suffer from that a lot. You know, what are people going to say syndrome?
Yes.
I didn't care. I knew that if I have her, I can build an empire. I'm a dreamer. I'm a visionary, you know, of great things. And so I knew. And I said to her, you know, give me 2 years.
Yeah.
And we'll just sort our lives out. And at that time, I was sitting at a minus $1 million in debt.
Wow.
You know, she had her own issues as well. You know, in 2 years, then we were able to do what needed to do.
Oh, wow. And I do want to press on,
Please
you
do.
know, on
Please
that,
do.
but I want to go back in what you were saying, you know, about not so much your previous relationship necessarily,
Yes, sir.
but on on what you took on, you know, into this relationship,
Yeah.
and that is that of cheating, and
Oh, yes.
and here is someone that you've met, and this person is all in for you, you know, and you can tell this person is all in for me. She has the background that she has, you know. What is it that comes over you at the point when you decide, hey, yes, I'm done.
Yeah.
You know, and let me go, you know, chat her up and whatever. What happens to all of that, her, you know, at that point? I want you to take us into the mind
Yes, sir.
of somebody who goes outside of the relationship,
Sure.
you know, to say, what is it that goes on in their mind at that point when they go out of the relationship?
Yeah. You know, during that time when I met her, I had some situations,
Yeah.
you know, that were my secret stuff.
Yeah.
They're no longer secret. She's laughing at you.
They're no longer secret.
And because I'm a kind of guy who can't hide
Yes.
my phone, pins, everyone knows.
Yes.
I couldn't hide those shenanigans.
Yeah.
And she would catch me on these things and it would break her. And I'm thinking, how you are something I want, but this last thing is so nice.
Yes.
Especially when you are
The
used
bad
to
thing
it.
about
so
lust is
good.
that it's
That's so
nice.
good.
But you're embracing something that is destroying you.
Yes.
You know, what do you do? Because it becomes paradoxical to say, this is destroying you.
And yet
but
you want
it's
to hold
nice
on.
to do.
Gotcha.
Oof.
You know,
That's a
so I
tough
was
one.
dealing with that.
Yeah.
And I realized, some people might not believe this, but I realized that lust is not just an emotion. It is a spirit.
Oh, it is a spirit.
It is and it's a very strong spirit. And so I was praying for the grace of God during that process.
Yeah.
Because I had opened the door out of anger from my previous relationship.
Yeah.
It was difficult to shut that door in this beautiful thing that I just had now. You know, so I had to go through a process.
Yeah.
You know, and I needed her assurance and her commitment to say, you know what, I'm struggling with this thing. I'm struggling with this thing because you are what I've been always looking for. But now I don't know, I'm self-sabotaging.
Yeah.
And it happens all the time.
Yes.
Where when you get the success you've been gunning for, you then sabotage yourself. You know?
And for you, Sis Bells, the
Sorry.
Flower.
Bathanda ukwenza ama-
Yes, no,
What is
everyone
doing
has
of
the
people's
best.
names?
I understand.
I'm like, can you just have a name? No. They need to change it and make it okay.
Yeah, no, I do the same.
Yeah.
I
I
do
think
the same.
you are the one who's a stranger.
Okay, sis
So
Bells.
I guess you're right, Tina.
Yes. No, she's a stranger too.
Oh, that's so strange.
Cape Town.
Buy net in a- you
But
buy net,
she's
Cape
from
Town in a-
Coffin Baba originally.
Originally from
Kulubis.
Kulubis.
All right, but by marriage, I'm with you.
So you know, you have the experience that you've had in the marriage. Somebody who would leave on a Thursday, come back Monday. You know that they are not preaching anywhere. It's not
They're not winning souls
It's not that
anywhere.
they're winning souls, you know, anything. Now you come into this relationship. How did that feel? Didn't that feel like history is repeating itself? Didn't you feel like, okay,
Kwasuka.
I'm pressing panic button, immediately I'm out of here?
You know, a repeated pain has a way of eating up your mind. Because the first time I walked out of my marriage, I walked out knowing that I was saving me. There was nothing wrong with me. And so when I started experiencing it here, then now it was to say, okay, I'm the problem here.
Ooh.
Now it was not a matter of walking out. It was clearly I'm the problem. I didn't see it even in my past marriage. And I remember having a conversation with you. The city. What did I say that broke you so much? When are you adding on to this pain?
Pain, yeah.
Yeah, everything that I've carried, maybe I deserve it. Yeah, I said
Start
maybe
blaming yourself now.
I said maybe I deserve it. Maybe I wasn't supposed to leave my marriage because it's the same thing. You know.
I get it to better that the devil, you know.
Yeah.
That's what people say. Ukuthi rather, because nalang I experience a lento mhlambe ingcono nalapha ya at move.
And mind you, at this point, it's not just that. I am still dealing with the labeling, the name calling. Remember, when you get divorced as a woman and date a married man, already in the society that's not allowed. There's just everything dirty about it. And so you are a home wrecker, you are a man snatcher, you are a slave queen, or whatever names, you know. And now how do you come out to say, I'm not that, I'm actually a home worker, I believe in marriage, I'm innocent, I just fell in love with someone who was married, you know. And you find reasons, on a normal day, I would not date a married man. Because I know what it feels like from the time, from my previous
When it
marriage
happened to you.
to me.
So was he married at the time that you met?
He was married,
Oh,
I
he was-
wasn't.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought he was out of his marriage at the time.
He was just going through. He
Was just going through stuff.
yes,
but
in his
still
marriage.
married.
So when he met me, then I was that reason to say, for
Actually.
this, I'm leaving. And now the names, the everything. So I'm dealing with that for this person. And then you find out this person is cheating on you. Not once, not twice, you know? And it's just like, okay, you talk about it the first time, it will never happen again. And then it happens again, and you say, okay, clearly I'm the problems. Low self-esteem.
Yeah.
And no wonder they were going through this. I mean, the enemy, like my husband said, that this is a spirit.
It's a spirit.
So it starts chowing you away. It's doing the same thing to him.
Yeah.
I would lock myself downstairs to a point where we spoke about it, and we realized that we're actually dealing with the spirit.
Yeah.
And I said to him, you know what? I am going to forgive you with everything I have in me.
Yeah.
If there's anything in you that says you need help, let's do that. But I want to save this because I believe in this. Do you think you need help?
Yeah.
You know, because also from a boy from Blawa believes in different things. They don't see women the same way.
Yeah.
If you have 5, then you
That's
boss.
good. Yeah.
You know, but you have 1, then you bar.
Yeah.
So maybe I had to deal with that to see, Bana, are you sure it's not maybe matching the scores from the past to say, hey, I couldn't get 10 of them when I was still in Blawa, let me do it now, you know.
Yeah.
And so we walked through that journey with my husband with love. And for the first time, I believed him. When he said to me, come, I remember we're upstairs and he said, come, can we pray?
Yeah.
And we prayed about it. And he said, I want to do this with you.
Wow.
I don't want to block these people. I want to get to a point where I know that I don't want to do this anymore.
So he doesn't want to be forced, but he just wants to journey with you in getting things right.
But that works for somebody who recognizes that what I'm doing is wrong.
Wrong.
Yes.
You know, there's somebody who is doing this. It doesn't matter how many times they are caught cheating.
They won't see anything wrong.
They won't see it. They may see something wrong in the sense that they see the effect of it in terms of the relationship, but I'm still not going to stop doing it.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? You know, for him to get to that point where it's like, okay, you know what? There's a point I know I need to get to, and that point, yokuthi, angisayidingi yonke lento. Without me having blocked anyone. In other words, lento kuphelelwa yi-appetite.
Yeah.
Or realize on your own.
Who realize on your own. What role does God play in that? You know, taking away of that appetite.
It's a major role. And again, you know, there's a scripture that says when the demon is casted out of someone, it goes. It collects all its bodies.
This will be strong.
Come and look for space or a gap. So in the duration of my marriage, I had never cheated, my first marriage.
Yeah.
You know. So when I said I'm doing this thing out of anger or whatever, I was opening a door I didn't know I will not be able to handle. You know. Yeah. And now I was tampering in another terrain and the game had changed.
Yeah.
No, they're stronger now.
Yeah, no. The
They don't
game had
play.
changed. I'm telling you, I was messed up. I didn't know what to do.
But ibona lento sisibhels nokuthi you know the spiritual nature of this, because now I understand what you were saying, to say, oh, maybe the problem is me, right? The devil, in terms of how the devil works, in this case, for an example, you are coming from where you are coming from, right? With the experiences that you're nazo, amongst which is cheating. Ngapha, on the other side of this mountain, kunyuka, this guy, right? And having never done this before, but at the point where he's about to meet you, he begins this thing. You know, so Satana has a way of orchestrating things against you, so much so that when you will see him as a problem, you know, and you don't realize Guti, that, hey man, lento kahle is meant to break me. Lento lena is meant to discredit. It's meant for me to say, I don't believe in Shadwen anymore. I don't believe in family. I don't, you know, I hate Tektua in daughter, you know, and all of those things because of the experiences. You could have met him when and he has never began that process, you know, but for some reason, you know, he began the process of, and it became uncontrollable. And you met, you know what I'm saying?
Hey guys, usathane
That's
guys.
just
yo.
the spiritual nature of this thing. So that when sometimes we miss that point. And then we make him the problem.
Yes.
Instead of looking at the issue and say, for him to get to that point where he says, you know what, baby, I really want to stop this. I know it is wrong. I can see what it's doing. And
Help me.
Journey with me, in this. That is winning.
That's winning.
Yeah.
That's winning.
Oh, guys, I'm sorry that we're gonna sit a bit on that. The reason for that is because we know that a lot of marriages get stuck
On this point.
there,
This point.
where someone has become a serial killer.
Cheater.
A serial cheater while you are killing the relationship. You become a serial cheater because you have opened this door, and upon you opening this door, it's now affecting this marriage, this beautiful thing that you have created. We come across a lot of people who are at that point, and they just don't know how to get out of it.
So it's a rut.
I would like for you guys to take us through that journey of one of you
Breaking off.
is really in a spiritual warfare, but named lust. Because we don't want to talk about this. People don't want to talk about lust, especially when we are Christians. We feel like, no, let's talk about everything else, but lust, and yet lust is killing our marriages, Christian marriages, to be specific. When you get to that situation or a relationship or marriage where there is lust involved here, and we've established that this is spiritual, how do you help someone to get out of this? Because usually people end up divorcing instead. Because they can't control this that they're going through.
So, beautiful question. So it goes back to what she said earlier, that she thought she was the problem. But lust has nothing to do with her. It has everything to do with the perpetrator. Because you go out there simply because there's a void within you. And there's a validation that you're looking for. So that door of lust opens because it sees a gap. There's an adage which says it is the mouse inside that told the mouse outside that there's cheese inside.
Hey.
Ooh.
Yay.
So it's these undealt with voids, internal voids of validation. I'm going to tell you why. So in my case, for example, I come from a different contextual marriage altogether. This, I have never experienced such warmth and presence and all that. And so, before you know it, in Joburg, it's a different ball game altogether. I'll bleed in Joburg.
No.
They just look at you in the eye.
And
Then
we're together.
They're ready.
Wow.
So there's a young boy at Kumu. Hey man, yeah, because I grew up with his friends, and his friends, I was not the popular one. Corner, they were popular guys, and girls always wanted them. Then when I experienced it, I thought, hey man, it's my time.
It's my time to shine. It's my city.
Oh, man.
And I've got this beautiful thing at the same time, thinking, Lord, why did you come now?
You're so busy.
Why did you come now?
So I needed to sit down with myself and reflect to say, who am I? As Luthando. Why am I here? And I think I was numbing the divorce factor as well. It ate at the very fabric of my self-esteem, What am I doing? Who was I before this whole mayhem that took place in my marriage? Am I disappointed at self? So I needed to reflect. So I'm someone who brainstorms a lot. So I would take a clean piece of paper, and a pen. I would brainstorm the ideas. If I've got something that is eating at me, I'll just put it on paper and brainstorm around it. And then I said, then why am I bringing someone so precious in this messy space?
Yeah.
What is that I'm trying to build? I had to go back there. There's a book by Stephen Covey. It says, the 7 habits of
Of
highly
highly
effective.
effective, yeah.
Now, there's a principle there. It talks about beginning with the end in mind.
Yeah.
I had to go there before I came to her to say, okay, what is the ultimate? What kind of legacy am I trying to build? When I took myself there, I had to come back.
Yeah.
The activity of sitting down with her to say, hey, I'm sorry, man. There's nothing wrong with you. There's something wrong with me.
Sure.
You know, I'm dealing with my own inferiorities, with my own challenges, you know. And to be honest, I have never been loved the way you do. So I'm self-sabotaging because I'm trying to push you away because I have never seen such love.
Yeah.
So is this really true? And so you go and hop around because you're trying to find something better.
Wow.
Is this really true? Let me contrast it with something else.
Yeah.
So it's internal conflicts, guys.
Ooh.
The enemy will always use the doors that are already inside of you.
Yes.
Yeah. It's
Not
not
invent
something
new
new.
ones, yeah.
He used the existing doors.
Oh my God.
You know, so I had to be true to myself to say, what am I doing? I've got 3 children who are broken, you know, by this whole situation. She has 3 children who are broken from what happened. I am the head of this family. I'm supposed to be providing direction
No, not adding to
and not
this.
playing games. Why would I do that? You know, what am I doing? I immediately went back home. I realized even my otamkhulu basekhaya, uncles, divorced, messed up situations. Why am I repeating the status quo? Didn't I say I'm going to break the cycle in my generation? I had to be honest with myself. And that's when it became sobering to me to say, I'm not doing this thing again. Why am I doing this? You know? And that decision changed everything. And I never looked back from there. Because we needed to define our family. But I realized that one of the things that we didn't do is that our marriage was based on how we felt about each other. But we had never articulated the vision of the family. To say, who are we? How do we define ourselves outside the context of what had happened? And so we needed to sit down to say, okay, when they talk about the Daniels, who are the Daniels? So we needed to articulate the vision. But before that, the purpose of the family. So why would God collide 2 destinies?
Yeah.
There's something bigger. What is it? We needed to put that on paper. Where are we going? We had to put that on paper. What are our value system? So that whoever falters is judged based on the values that we are.
Because they're there.
They're there.
They're written down
They're written
on
down.
tablets.
Exactly. So now we needed to make them our belief system.
Yeah.
There's a difference. You know, you'd walk in companies and you realize that you see all these vision statements and values, but no one is behaviorally living them out because they are not yet embedded in our belief system and they have not yet become our philosophy. And so I needed to do that exercise to say, this has to be part of my belief system.
Yeah.
So that whatever we do, we correct each other, not based on what you did, but on the value system.
Yeah.
What do we stand for as the Daniels? You know?
That's a powerful point to be in. That's a powerful position to be in. It's the same, I believe, position that God was challenging Adam, you know, to say, where are you?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not that he didn't know where he was physically, you know, but where are you? When, as a man, you can ask yourself that question, you are ready to mature. You are ready to grow. You are ready to be a husband.
Yeah.
You know, where are you? You are married to a man at the time who didn't know where he is. Where were you at?
I was in doubt, self-doubt. I remember at the time I would just go out. I would lock myself in. I would cry. I became something I wasn't. I'm a happy person. I love people. I love to laugh. And home was sour. Home was, I'm at home. I wonder what's new.
Yeah.
That's why the first time he said he was done with it, I knew he was lying because I could still feel it. The last time he said it was in 2023, 2022,
Yeah.
2023, beginning of 2023.
Yeah.
And I knew it. I knew it. He said, do we send messages to these people? What do we do? Do we say, I said, leave those people. This is our thing here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not more about what you're
Oh,
telling
that's another
me.
powerful thing right there.
Yeah, let's stay here. Let's stay here and work on us. And you know, there's one thing about the devil. The devil is a coward. But if he doesn't know where Adam is, if he sees that Adam akamazba upi, the devil will come in and he will use the smallest thing to open that crack, and he uses it. So I knew at that moment, because many things started coming in from that. I remember speaking to his ex-wife, and she called to talk to the kids, and maybe just a second, I almost said, I want to talk to you. This is what I'm going through. I almost, you know, because the enemy was saying, come in so you can confide in confide in this person, and it cracks open, because now that we are here, my husband and I, where we are right now in 2025, 2024, we know exactly why those things happened. But we didn't understand it then. It was, you're not loyal, you're not this, you're not that. But because we pushed back and we said, we are doing this thing together.
Yeah.
I forgive you. I forgive you 100%. And I forgave him. But I'm used to forgiving. But I just didn't want to forgive something that would happen again.
Yeah.
And I knew at this point, man, my husband would never do it again. I would tell anyone that my husband would never.
Yeah.
He did it, he knows, because I heard his conversations with God. I heard him. I heard him speak to him.
Sure.
In our prayer, we would wake up at midnight to do our prayers, and he would mention it. My husband would come to me. I'm busy chopping in the kitchen. My husband comes to me and says, I want us to talk when you're done. And I would sit down and he would say to me, how are you feeling today about that thing? What happened to you when I was doing? What did you have in mind about me? You know, he would bring that subject up.
Yeah.
To say, let's talk about it.
Yeah.
And some days he would call me and say, baby, I want you to call me anytime. I understand now when I'm out there, but I also phone in, because you're thinking, what if?
What is happening?
And I said to him, you don't have to video call. And he said, baby, I'm intentional. I'm very intentional about this thing, you know. And I want you at 2 a.m., if this thing creeps in, please wake me up. Let's talk about it. Tell me, baby, this is what I'm feeling now. And so a lot of times I would be like, you know, hey, today I was just thinking, I looked at that girl's picture and she's got beautiful legs. Now I'm clearly up and kiss my doll. You know, I'm like, so was it the legs? And we laugh about it. So now we joke about these things. And then I would go and say, baby, now that you're here, did she look like that one? You know, and she'd be like, hi, man, baby. I'm like, being a conjure, we're a teen. You don't go. You know, I'll say to him, you don't go. I'm going to go send in because then to tunyele ipin, baby. Hey, I was 10. When I'm by 6, it's like, I haven't. So we joke about it. It doesn't trigger anything because we had to deal with those voids.
Yes.
But vele power yesono is in its secrecy. And talking about things brings them up, you know, for everyone to see. And I love that strategy, actually.
I love
the enemy doesn't like that.
The enemy hates that, because the more you hide it, the more it becomes your thing. You know, I'm healing on my own, and this is when the enemy attacks, because I uzo plant izinto in the darkness, because vele you are hiding.
And many couples are struggling with that.
Yeah.
When you have cheated, you don't want to open a platform to check on.
Yeah. Instead, someone is going to be angry.
Yeah, you're going to be angry. Hey, no, walk with me.
It's no problem.
Yeah, walk
And
with me
what women don't understand, I'm sorry, my love, what also we married couples, what we don't understand is that I was cheated on.
Yeah.
Okay? That was painful. He is not proud that he cheated on me. So as much as I break at the thought of him cheating at me, he breaks at the thought of cheating on me.
Sure.
You know, and some people now, you forever play victim. I'm the one, you wronged me. I'm the one who went through this. Go to your husband and ask, how are you feeling today? After that, because uhamba shame every day. And some women remind their men all the time.
Never forget.
And it's not a good reminder. It's always,
Reach.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, this is what you did. This is what you did. Remember what you did. I can look at not temper when this is what you did. You know?
But imagine if God had acted the same.
Yeah, exactly.
That would be interesting, right?
There would only be maybe a person. No,
I'm telling you.
We are here because God
Forgives us every
day.
and you know, there is something that people miss even during. I'm sorry, this episode has taken a. We
different
prepared,
turn, you guys.
We prepared, yes.
So sorry, guys.
And it has taken.
You guys are so wrong.
You know, and it's all good. You know, because this subject is one that on our inboxes we have questions every day, especially there are men too, but especially women. You know, my husband is cheating and da 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 da. But nobody is willing to come and sit like this and let's have a chat about it. Not about principles. Let's talk about experience.
Raw material.
You know, the raw thing, you know, and how it happened. What were you going through at that? Because you see, one of the things is when I cheat or if I cheat on Upindi, I would find a way. This is again the spiritual thing that people don't recognize. I would find a way of making it her fault.
Yeah, shift the blame.
You changed.
And then yes, you changed. You no longer do. You no longer. You know.
That's why I did it.
That's why. And now it becomes her problem. Now, when she's by herself, she's standing in front of a mirror after a shower. She's seeing how, you know, kiss my doll.
That's
Or
why.
she's seeing, you know. And the thing about it, we don't understand the damage that this does, not just to the marriage, but to the person that is being cheated on,
sir.
and the shame that they also take on because they are made to feel like it's my fault. Do you get what I'm saying? And maybe this is why, you know, because that process, what it does is page 37 of your book. It makes that process so difficult. The process of forgiveness. You know, it makes it so difficult because now, how can you forgive something? First of all, you don't know its genesis. You don't know, you know, all you know is you are thrown in it. That it's your fault and you are the reason why your husband didn't do that to you. I'm just saying in general, that's what happens.
That's what happens.
And I'm saying, Wuti, that it makes the process of forgiveness so difficult.
Yes.
It makes the process of trust rebuilding so challenging as well. We have run out of time, but tell us about that process of trust rebuilding to a point where that you are now comfortable with each other, you are comfortable with him, that when he goes play golf, there's nothing in you that says, I need to follow him.
A video call.
I need to follow him and check if he's indeed there. You know, how do you get there? How did you get there?
It took some time. One, you look back and you compare. Everything about this person says yes, but the cheating one. And then the trust comes from a place of, you're not cheating for me. You are destroying yourself. And I said to him, the one thing about life is that whatever it is that you're looking for, at some point you'll get it. I said, uzayifumana le nto ikhangelayo ayipheli ngoku, uzayikhangela and you will find it. And these are be ready for when. And I said, maybe you don't understand Johannesburg. I've been here for so long. And I've watched them. I've traveled back home to bury some of my friends. You know, because they came and they got caught up in the life here at Johannesburg. I asked a friend of mine at some point, Bana, kuthiwa iJoburg kuhanjwa kwi-first lane. Wathi no, Joburg is not like that. Joburg has all the lanes. You decide. If you're fast, Joburg will be fast with you. If you're slow, Joburg. That puti uhamba kwi-first lane. Uhamba kwi-first lane. And mna, I'm going to sit here and watch you.
Until ufike la
Uyakhona,
destination.
uzawufika. That uzawufika. Definitely uzawufika at some point. With regards to trust, there's something about my husband that is believable. Part of the reason why we sat down and I said to him, I want to really write this book. Or in case you have forgotten, is a recollection of my pain, all my pieces. So within even that period, I was writing down everything because I had to remind myself every day that he did not make me, he did not create me, and I was not here reason yake, that God brought me here. So I had to write all these pieces.
So this is a reminder to yourself.
It's a reminder
basically.
to myself, a collection of all the broken pieces of me in a book. Why we have to forgive and a lot of things. So I forgave him because, so, there's a little child that was asked, what is forgiveness?
Yeah.
Forgiveness is when a flower is crushed and you can still pick it up and
Still smell it.
That's forgiveness. You've crushed it, but you can
That is
still
nicely
get
put.
that smell,
And that's really what happens to the flower. It doesn't lose the smell.
Yeah, just because
Even
it's
though
crushed.
it's crushed.
And I knew my love, and I remembered Barbara saying, "You wait on your heart." She didn't say wait on your heart on this marriage.
Yeah, but you
Wait
took
on your
that
heart.
with
Wait on your heart. Whatever happens, whether usemsebenzini or relationship, you wait on your heart. And I knew that God didn't lie to me when he said this man was my soulmate. So I went back to him and I said, Lord, uzaba ngohlobo funeka bengalo kum and our children. And my husband is my best friend.
Yeah.
This is my best friend.
Yeah.
Like, even if we met one of the girls now, we'd probably be like, hey, do you remember us?
I'm sure I'm on TikTok. And they're like, and they're like, oh, they're here.
That could have been me.
We'd probably go back and I would be the one at the time. I would like to apologize for what my husband did to you. He misled you, Because even he met up with one of them, I think about 3 weeks, and he came home and he's like, hey, baby, guess who I bumped into? This so-and-so person. And I said, you know what? Because we're holding this thing, the enemy will always remind you, That is why if it's all of us here and a tall, dark, handsome guy walks in and I look at him, we have a secret now together. The enemy will say, did you see him? He's looking good. And he would say, did you see her? Even if he's with his wife. Then before you know it, there's this communication that's so silent. So in as much as there's this crowd, this woman stands out because there's something that almost happened between us. So when they met now for the first time after this, then it's like, we have something that we can't do. Then he says, I had to face the enemy that day. And I said, I want to talk to you.
Wow.
What do you want to know? But there's nothing to talk about. Or to know that thing that almost happened between us, I want to apologize to you. I could not, just the thought of what it was doing to my wife. But my wife is too precious. And the lady just stood there to think, how can you just break me like that?
Wow.
And he came home and he said, I'm so proud of myself. I'm not doing these things because most of the time men want to do all these things to prove to the wife that they don't cheat anymore. Prove to yourself that you don't cheat. You don't owe me anything. Don't worry about
because
me.
it doesn't help. You can block her and all of, but
what happens when
you're still gonna find ways of.
Yes. I mean, it's a block what the number we memorize. So what's the point? You know what I mean? You know the number, so it doesn't help. Guys, we have to make a promise.
Oh my God.
I've never seen an hour go so quickly.
Do you
know what? I look there and I'm thinking, no, man, maybe there's a mistake or something. I don't know how that went so quickly. But we have to promise to have another sit down. I don't know. This went so bad, actually.
No, this was so
I'm
awesome.
saying the time.
All the time,
I
okay.
don't know how that happened. But I think we do need to sit down because I love this thing about making promises or reminding yourself,
Yeah.
you know, of the things that because I mean, life happens, guys, and you forget.
Yeah.
You forget even the dreams that you had for yourself. You forget promises you have made to yourself and so many things. And having to basically rediscovering your dreams. And when did this baby come along? And what really pushed you? Because we are balances. This is iBhayibheli.
Tina siyahamba siphelela.
iBhayibheli phela le. What inspired this, and what can people look forward to? But it's sazobuya and just sit down and go through chapters.
Do you know the most amazing thing about In Case You Have Forgotten is that In Case You Have Forgotten came out this month, March, beginning of March.
Oh yes, I remember when you were delivering, I think,
Yes.
a
the books.
parcel delivery and stuff.
They were arriving that day.
Yes, and someone cried. Hey, ubhek's une-drama.
You know, you almost stopped me. I was about to do it again.
She was going like, and I'm like, but this is good work.
But
makes
people
me
will
cry
never
every
understand that. People will never
makes- I
understand
know.
that.
It's
I cried as well.
I know. She's talking.
This book, as we speak now, it's been out. We sent out our first copies on the 11th of March, and we've sold over 400 copies already.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
The reception has been great.
That
This
is
is
really
besides Amazon.
All over the world,
cool.
yeah.
Yeah, I saw people are buying from Canada, from Australia, from UK, USA. I don't know how many copies we've sold on Amazon.
Wow.
But I'm just talking about direct.
Yes,
You're talking to me,
to
direct
you.
sales.
I have a copy. Thank you very much.
You have a
Yes.
We have a
You
copy.
Can you
guys
say
have a
I?
copy,
What you
yes.
mean? I do.
And I said this.
Yes, you said that.
I said this, that le ncwadi yeyabo.
Yes.
No, you were
Le
right.
ncwadi,
You were
because Nini, I would like you to please read page 34.
Yes.
Even if you read just the first few lines, just to get abantu a texture of what it is.
Before we supporter your Chiefs is cut.
Yes.
You are worth the investment. It's based on Proverbs chapter 4, verse 23, that above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. In case you've forgotten, you are your greatest investment. The world will demand so much from you, your time, your energy, your strength. But if you neglect yourself in the process, what do you have left to give? You cannot pour from an empty cup, and you cannot build a future while running on what's left of yesterday's strength. Andisafundi kamnandi. Yes.
In case you've forgotten, you are a good reader.
In case you've forgotten, growth is an inside job.
Yeah.
No one else can do the work for you. Healing, discipline, purpose, they are not handed to you. They are cultivated. True transformation happens in the quiet moments, the unseen efforts, and the choices you make when no one else is watching. It's in the way you challenge yourself, how you face your fears, and how you rise even when staying down feels easier.
Yeah.
Yes, it's hard. Yes, it takes time. But in case you've forgotten, every effort you make towards becoming a better version of yourself is never wasted. The small habits, the daily disciplines, the moments of self-reflection, they all add up. Slowly but surely, they shape you into who you are meant to be.
People need to buy the book and go through and read up. Nyayibona education yase tinarha. I'm telling you.
In case you've forgotten, that's the name of the book.
Yeah, forgotten.
Yeah.
Rediscovering the dreams and promises already within you.
Thank you. Amen to
Thank you so
that.
much. Where do people get the book?
On Amazon,
Yeah.
on our website, mascoma.com.
Yeah.
Mascoma.com.
Yes.
Feels
And
good,
they can
eh?
send me an email. They can send me an email on mascoma@mascoma.com.
Oh my!
Yes.
Thanks to your husband. Guys, thank you so much.
Oh man!
We cannot thank you enough.
guys.
This has been incredible. What a beautiful time. I mean what I said.
Yeah.
Ukuthi, I don't know where time went, to be honest, you know. But for me, it speaks of the depth, you know, of this conversation.
Yeah.
And which also says to me, there is a big chunk of this conversation that we did not get to, you know. Thank you so much from the bottom of our hearts.
Yeah.
You know, thank you for making the time. And we are excited when we see more families
Yeah.
looking the way that you guys do and really pushing this agenda
The agenda
of
yomtshado.
family and
Agenda
marriage.
yosapho.
And what I even like about your journey is the fact that it not begin from great beginnings. Because sometimes when people have had broken marriages, they think
This
it's
is
the
it.
end.
Yeah.
You know, both of you, your first marriage is broke, but you do not end there. You still believed in love and you pursued it. And here you are in being the one of the families that South Africa loves and with the background that you have. So amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your vulnerability. Thank you for trusting us with your story. And I know we only scratched the surface because
Indeed.
there's lots of elements we didn't get into. But I believe and trust God with that which we have spoken about is enough to engage somebody, some husband, some wife at home who actually may be going through a similar story. As well. We really appreciate you.
Yes. We love you guys.
Thank you. Thank you guys for welcoming us. Truly, truly is a pleasure to be here and to talk. I would love to sit again.
Yeah.
Yeah, dilapha kaloku.
Ushilo Mr. D ukuthi uyakubuka nje wena. But let's do it again. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your time.
Yeah.
And we really do hope that you had enjoyed this episode as much as we did.
And this is Love, Marriage and Family Podcast with myself, Mo, and this beautiful woman over here.
Yes.
Her name is Pindi.
Love you.
Peace.